Hi friend, it's Jayma here, and today I have a double page layout for you, but I'm not actually starting from scratch today. Last month I did a video here on my channel all about being more efficient in your scrapbooking, and one of the ways I shared was to create a kit, and we created this kit together, and I walked you through my thought process for selecting papers, selecting photos, selecting the sketch, and all of that. And the idea behind this is to do all of the like tasks together so that you're more efficient in batching them. And so today I want to see what effect that has on my process in scrapbooking and see, when I sit down or stand, as I often do scrapbooking, how is my flow? Are things coming together faster? And, just what difference it is. So I'm going to keep most of this in real time, and I'll cut out some boring parts and maybe speed up some parts like the embellishing, because that always takes me the longest. But let's see what effect this has on this layout today. This is approximately where I left off in the video where I made this kit. I had selected these papers as I will probably use these. I had a few other options, but I'm just gonna go with my gut, and I really like this configuration right here. And it's based off of this sketch, and I have used this sketch before. Actually, the very first layout I made using Stampin Up products. I love how it turned out, and I'll show you that at the end of this video. The only change I'm gonna make is that there's gonna be two 4x6s here instead of the 5x7, and that's how I printed these photos to go with this sketch. Again, watch the kit video because it talks about choosing your sketch, then printing your photos, and there's a whole order to doing things to really help you maximize your efficiency. So I originally thought that I wanted these photos up at the top and this one down below, but I'm changing my mind because I found this thicker sheet that has a bunch of birthday titles in gold, so it's gonna be perfect. And I think I'm gonna use this happy birthday one, but it's gonna have to overlap the photos just a little bit. So if I have my flip flap here, like I was thinking, because I've got extra photos, we're gonna have a flip flap that's gonna flip those photos up, then I can't have anything overlapping it. So I'm going to just swap those. And then this is the one that's going to be on the base page, so that's the one I'll create the layout with. These are going to be in the flip flap. I'm going to use a 4x6 flip flap. Even though I've got a 3x4 here, that's going to go like this, and then over here will be my journaling. So you don't have to have another 4x6 photo in here, you just have to have I'll probably put a piece of white cardstock, mount this onto that 4x6 piece of white cardstock, and then this side I can journal on. So it'll be in the flip flap and flip up like that. So I'm just gonna put these off to the side because I don't need them for creating the layout right now. And then I cut down my other 3x4s down to 3x3, so those will go there according to the sketch. And then I've got my three 3x4s for over here and a 4x3. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my papers according to the sketch right here, and then I'll come back when that's done. All right, I've got everything cut, and then I matted my photos too because I pretty much knew I would mat them on white. I might add another mat, but we'll see. I just started here, and I just backed them with the placeholders that you get in the scrapbook kits. So I ended up cutting these down to 2 3/4 so that they would fit on the 3x3 photo placeholder. I cut a 4x6 down to 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 to fit this one. So I didn't trim the photo down, and I didn't trim these photos down either. I just created the solid white mat, and I made it a little smaller than the sketch called for. And then these ones I didn't cut those photos down either. So just the 3x3s. And I'm gonna put these Sapphire as my background. Now, you might notice this big hole in here. I did some die cutting, and I purposely cut out from the middle of here so that I could use this as a background with a frame style layout at some point. So I typically will gut out the whole center of a layout when I have just a little bit showing. But in this case, the white background here, I ended up cutting that down instead of having that a big piece. So I'll just glue everything on top of the white. Actually, this one's gonna go over here. And then this piece goes like this and covers the whole thing. So I want to have something to glue it onto and have the back so I didn't gut out the middle of that background paper. And so it'll go something like that. And I did cut this a little bit bigger just because I like having them tucked underneath a little bit. So same thing here, I cut these just a tiny bit bigger or wider than is called for because I wanted them to tuck under just a little bit. So actually that one goes all the way to the edge like that. And then this one will go all the way to the edge like that. So I will glue this down off camera. And then this, I only cut one strip because by the time we get our photos down here, we only need a little tiny piece here. So I'm gonna just rip that there. I only need a little tiny piece here. And so I don't need to have a whole big piece go all the way across and waste it. And then there's this one here that a lot of it will be hidden too. So I'll just leave it like that for now. I'm feeling like I want to add a little more gold though, like a little tiny strip here. So let me grab my gold foil. All right, here's the gold foil. I think that's gonna look good with the gold foiling here, and then I'll have gold foiling up here, and maybe a little bit mixed in my embellishment clusters. I wanted to point this out too. This is a new glitter paper, the ombre glitter paper. So you can see it goes from light to dark. I don't think I like it with this particular layout and the papers that I've chosen, but these, like this goes really nicely with this collection. Part of this could go with the collection and then some of the green too, but these are really fun new glitter papers, so I just thought I would show those to you. But I'm thinking I want just a really, really skinny strip to go in between this and this. We don't necessarily need two strips, and that's not called for in the sketch, but I'm thinking just like maybe less than 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch. Let's try that. Yes, I think that's going to be good. A little bit of specialty paper goes a long way. You don't need to have a lot, and then especially because we're not going to need a whole lot there, we can just tear those and then have the leftover over here. And that is going to make a nice little separator between there. All right, I had some cardstock selected in that kit as well. So let's see if we want a second mat. This white on white, the white background on white, I feel like it needs a little separator. Sometimes I'll do a second mat, and then sometimes I'll just ink around the edges of this too, just to give a little hint of a separation. But I do like having the photos matted in white, and I take that extra step to do that and then maybe add a color just because I feel like the white really helps them to pop more than if this was right up against a color. So I'm not loving the green. I don't feel like that does anything for my photos. It's the wrong color green to go with the grass. And that I don't feel like does anything. I don't think I'm gonna want that green either. We've got this pretty in pink, and I like that. We've got pink in the background here. There's quite a bit of pink, but this is darker. This is the same color. The pretty in pink is the color that's in the paper, but this is like a screened back version of it. So I do like that that's brighter. And then we have the peach pie, and you know what? I kind of like that too. I didn't think I would like it. I'm not the biggest orange fan, but all right, I had a hard time narrowing it down. So I didn't have any scraps of these colors, so I cut down some scraps that were pretty close. I mean, that's fairly close. And I want to see what I think. I think I'm actually leaning toward the pink. Let me put that under here. I don't know. I really like them both. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. So my title has a little bit of pink in it on the sides, you can see. And so I don't have pink on pink. And then also when I put this onto the pink, you've got all of the skin tones and a little bit of pink in there too. And I feel like it just kind of washes it out. I feel like these photos pop better on the orange, which is so rare of me to select orange, but I really do like it. And I was thinking maybe even have these on pink and the rest of them on orange, but I think I'm gonna do orange. I'm gonna do orange all around. All right, I've got all of my background papers glued down. I don't have my photos down yet. I wanted to show you what I did. I gutted out the back of all of the bigger pieces, and I was able to get the smaller mats for them. So if I gave this a 1/2 inch border, then I was able to get 3.5 inches here, which is what I need for this. These I had trimmed down, so I only needed 3.25. So I was able to get all of the mats I needed from just the one sheet of cardstock. And then I was trying out my titles. I really wanted to use this happy birthday, but it's just too big. It's gonna cover up some of the girls' faces. It actually would have worked nicely probably with this one, because I don't care if my husband is covered up because he's not part of that shot, but oh well, there is this celebrate one, so I'll go ahead and use that. And then because I have the white background, I started feeling like it felt a little bit plain. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do a little bit of ink blending on the background. So let me scoot that out of the way, and I wanna test it on a scrap piece of paper. I want it to be really light. So I've got the Pretty in Pink, that's the pink color that's in here. And what I would do was start behind the photo and then kind of go out. So let's see if we can get it. Yeah, I think that'll be light enough, and have it go out. So let's see, let me pull this back in. All right, so let's tuck this back here. I think that could look nice. I might go a little bit darker, and then I probably want to put this where I have my embellishment clusters too. I'm going to have a cluster here. I've got a lot of blank space here, so I can have an embellishment cluster here, and that can kind of work in with the title. And then definitely a big one over here. I've got lots of space. I might actually move these up a little bit more. So if I pull in the sketch, they actually have a bigger cluster here, and then a cluster here, and a subtitle here. So maybe I'll do that. I could find some sort of subtitle there, a bigger cluster, and then I only have room for a small cluster right here. So I might do that. Now I have these 2 sheets of die cuts that have a lot of really fun gold foil embellishments, and I love these. Both of these sheets are the same, but then I've also got the scrapbook kit that came out after I first selected this kit. So the scrapbook kit is very similar to the DSP, but the papers are a bit different. And what comes in the scrapbook kits is a guide to create 3 double-page layouts. It has all of the cutting instructions and everything, and then it has the assembly instructions. So I don't typically follow the guides exactly. They're really cute layouts, and you could definitely follow them exactly. I like to show you alternative ideas, and then typically I like to work more around my photos and fit even more photos on the pages. So like if you'll notice this paper here in the kit, it doesn't have the gold foiling, but it's actually the same as this. So with the kits, they kind of tone down some of the papers so that they work more with scrapbooking. So I mentioned in with the other DSP, a lot of the papers were the same scale, or they all had gold foiling, which is gorgeous. I love the gold foiling. Obviously, I wanted to use it here, but when all of the papers have gold foiling, it ends up being a bit much for scrapbook layouts versus cards, because it takes away from your photos and can be a little bit distracting. So I'm glad that I have both, because I definitely want the gold foiling, but then there's also some nice papers in here. So this is the same as the other paper. This one, they actually scaled this one down. So in the other kit, the DSP, this is bigger and it has gold foiling. So this is a little bit different. And then the back of it is this, which is a completely different paper than is in the DSP. And then we also have this one. So in the DSP, this one's pink. And in the kit, the scrapbook kit, it's green. And then the back, I love this one. This is like a little confetti small dot looking one. And I actually did consider using that as my background, but I didn't think that this looked good with this. I wasn't a big fan of those together, so I decided to just stick with what I had. This one, the lighter stripes are gold foil in the original kit. So it's just a little busier. This is more tone on tone. So you've got 2 sheets of that. That doesn't have a back, and then this doesn't have a back either. And this one's totally different than what's in the DSP. So that one's really fun too. So I'm glad I have both. There's good in both kits, but what I wanted to pull this out for was the stickers and the die cuts, because in the scrapbooking kits, typically they have the embellishment scaled to a larger proportion to work better for scrapbooking versus cards. So we have some title options here, which I'm not going to need. We've got the cake and some larger floral clusters that are really cute, some border stickers that are cute. So I've got those options. We've got these little curly cues. So these are all in here because they're called for in that guide that I showed you, but I like to kind of do my own thing with them. And then we also have some leaves. You might be able to see them better on this side. So there's some leaves, some smaller ones, that's 2. And then this is like a big viney leaf. So that actually might be nice in my cluster over here. I've got a bigger cluster over there. And then maybe the smaller leaves could go in my small cluster. And then let's see, here's another small leaf, can go in my other small cluster over here. And then there's another die cut sheet that has more. So we've got this large cake that's a lot bigger than the one that's in the original die cut pack. So that might actually, it's even a little bit big. I could cut off the little stand, maybe tuck that under there like that. Not sure I like it right next to the orange mat though. So I don't know, we got some options here. So here's these ones. So maybe the smaller embellishments will actually work in the smaller areas that I have. Maybe this one could go over here. Again, I could take off the little tiered stand there. Let's see what that would look like, maybe over here. And I love leaves and sprigs. Who says you can't have them sticking out from a cake? I think that that looks cute. So I might actually do the cake over here. I like the gold foiling on that, so I'll take this one away. And then looking at the rest of this die cut sheet, we have the flowers. Maybe that could look cute here, and I could still put the big leaf there because I've got lots of space here. I've got balloons. These balloons are super cute. So maybe those could go over here somehow. We also have this banner thing and this banner thing. So those could be cute as well. I think I'm actually just going to pop all of these out and play around with them. Okay, I popped everything out and I put them in my little tray. I've also got one of the die cuts from the scrapbook kit, and then this is a sticker from the scrapbook kit that I put some of the anti-static bag powder on the back so that it's not sticky anymore, because this other cake that was in the die cuts is orange and I don't really want the orange there, and I was thinking that this blue is a nice contrast, so I wanted to try that over here, and I think that that looks good right there. I'm gonna need something else here, so we'll have to figure that out. We've got the balloons. I really like the balloons and I'm hoping that that can work in. I could even have it like this. I don't want to cover her friend there, so I could have them kind of tilted like this so it comes down like that. I really like the cake though too. Maybe the cake could go something like that, or swap these. This can go like this. I don't like the cake stand sitting up here. I think that looks a little funny, so I probably would just cut it off and have it like this, and then maybe these can kind of be floating here. I like these attached because it feels like they're like related. If this is just up here floating, I feel like that's not part of this cluster. I like it being sort of attached if I end up using that. And then maybe I could still use this, or I did have the big one there. Let's see if this big one still works. That might actually be, I think that's too big. I kind of like it. You know how cakes sometimes have, well, this has flowers on it. And so I feel like if I have just a little sprig here, I can find some of the little you know, pieces of flowers in here to add to it. Maybe this little cluster here, that's pretty cute. We also have these banners, so the banners could work over in this corner as well. But I really want to use the balloons. Maybe the banners could go over here. This kind of has a natural break right there, so I could trim it if I want color, or I can do the gold. But then I've got gold kind of in the same place as the title over here, and then gold over here. So I think actually I do like the colored one. So we'll kind of play with that. And then this blow out the candles. Remember we had the spot for the subtitle. So I might need to move this over a tiny bit. I was thinking that could just kind of tuck under here. It blends in with this a bit, so maybe I'll add a matte to this too. You know what? This is that scrap of pink that I had. And since I don't have any other mattes in pink, I can just use this scrap, even though it's not the exact color. But that will add a little more pink over here. I think that will work. I'm gonna move this out of the way for now. And then I did have this pink cake over here, and I like that. I think I'm gonna stick with that. You know, 2 cakes is okay. I like having 2 cakes. And then I'm going to put the leaf over on this side too, just to keep that continuity. And then maybe a little cluster here. So there was a 3rd leaf that was just the 2 little leaves. And then we have a bunch of little flowers. So I like these ones with the gold centers. These 2 are both the same, so maybe they could kind of tuck there. Now, another thing I look at with clusters is trying to have all the colors represented in each cluster. So right now we've got a lot of blue here. We have a little blue here. We don't have any blue over here. So I need to add maybe a little blue flower on this side. So I have these options. I don't think I want any more orange, and that was a little big. So this could kind of, well, this is going to be a flip-flop, so I don't want to overlap it, but that could maybe be just added over here. That might be just enough of the blue. And I have a cupcake too. Maybe I could add a cupcake as well, because they actually had cupcakes. Let's see what that looks like. I kind of like that. I think I do still want this flower over here, but I don't want it like right on top, because I do have this blue here, but I feel like with the leaves here, I need another flower. So I am just going to tuck that under, and I like that balance now. And then maybe add just a tiny bit of orange here. I do have the orange mats, but just to have a little more orange in the clusters to draw that around. The other color I don't have represented everywhere is this sapphire color. We do have it grounding the whole layout though, but I do have this one leaf, and actually I have the other die cut pack, so I could steal the other blue leaf from that. So I might just stick this right here, or maybe on this side. No, I think it needs to go over here. And then here's the other blue leaf from that other die cut pack, just to help reinforce that blue in each cluster. Now there are several floral options too. These are in the DSP pack, and then we had the stickers from the scrapbook kit, and then some other die cuts from the scrapbook kit that are florals. So if you're not doing a birthday layout, you still have quite a few large embellishment areas or pieces to use in your embellishment areas. So, you know, I could have used this, but I think I like the cake better. And then this bouquet is really pretty too. And that could also kind of go at an angle on here, or if your pictures allow for it, it could even stick down here or go under the photo, much like I did the cake stand back here. And then I have these little gold foil pieces and a couple more leaves, and I was thinking I might add just another little cluster right here. Just felt a little blank, and I had a little blank spot just to kind of pull that around. Or you know what, I feel like it should go down here, because then we've got more movement around the page, creating visual triangles for your eyes to follow. So I'll kind of go like this, and then we'll stick a little gold foil piece in each cluster. While I'm doing that, I wanted to let you know that this video is a collaboration with the creative design team. This week, all of us are sharing ideas for using birthday photos in celebration of our next big event. Starting February 15th, we're hosting an event that's online where we're going to be creating birthday cards. You'll be treated to 14 different classes, all featuring a different birthday card that can also be changed to suit any occasion. Each class will also come with a handout that has a sketch, so essentially you're getting classes and a sketchbook when we're all done. Registration is now open over at cdtcreatives.com, and I also have that link down in the description below. Okay, now that I have all of my embellishing determined, I'm going to do the ink blending. I wanted to know exactly where my embellishments were going to go first, so I knew where to do this blending. So again, I am starting back behind the photo so that that darker spot where the blending tool first goes down is hidden, and it just kind of feathers out to a softer look as you go out. So I think that that's going to look really good. For some reason, the ink blending never looks as smooth on camera as it does in person. It looks a little blotchy here, but it actually looks really smooth and really good in person. These photos were from my daughter's birthday 2 years ago, and this is the biggest party she ever had. She didn't want to leave anyone out, but at the same time, she was really overwhelmed. She's more of a small group person like I am, we realized after this day, and she kind of shut down for a little while and wasn't having a real good time. So it was a good lesson for all of us that we need to keep her birthday parties small from now on. So the next year, she had a little slumber party just with her few closest friends, and that was a much better situation. At this point, I'm looking back and I'm kind of regretting the decision to use the orange mats. Well, I like the orange mats, but I feel like it just needs a little bit of a darker pop of something to help them stand out a little bit better. And because of the embellishments being glued down now, I can't take all of the photos off, but I wanted to try if I just ink around the edges of some of the photos with this Night of Navy, which is the dark navy blue that matches the border around the page. I wanted to see if that would help the photos to pop a little bit more. And I did like that, and I wish I had done it to all the photos, but I think just doing it to these 3x3 ones going down the green strip here will make a really big difference. So I'm going to do that to all of them. And here's how that turned out. I think that that does make a big difference, especially having them be on that green. I'm glad that I was able to get those up. So here's a close-up look of all of the embellishment clusters. I did add the extra little piece of that banner over that photo on the left. I just trimmed it off the top right here. And then I also added a few splatters in the background just because I had a lot of white space, and I like white space, but sometimes I don't like a lot. So I felt like I needed to fill it a little bit. Now let me bring in that other layout that I promised you. So this is the very first layout I did with Stampin' Up products, and it's one of my very favorite layouts. And this one has tons of flip-flops. I've got, I think, 5 flip-flops on here. I'm going to open them all up for you. So it's a great way to add more photos to your pages. And then here's a look at the comparison. On this one, I added 2 photos at the top to be able to fit even more photos. So that's another option. You always can just kind of modify your sketch to fit your photos. I also had a lot more space on that photo right there, so I was able to do a larger title there. So what did I think about starting with a kit? I loved it. It saved so much time to already have my paper selected, my photos printed at the sizes I wanted, and my sketch selected. So I could just dive into the really fun part of creating. So highly recommend. And if you'd like to check out that video where I talked about creating those kits, that's here on the left. And be sure to check out the creative design team's videos. That playlist is here on the right. Of course, I have all of the supplies I use listed down in the description below, as well as my social media channels where I will post still shots of this layout. Thanks for watching and have a great day.